going from a bulk into a cut. This can be one of the more difficult transitions out there, so to help you guys out, I'm giving you my top 3 tips, count them, 1, 2, 3, on how to help you transition from a bulk into a cut. Now, if you're asking yourselves, Eric, why are you making a video about this? Well, obviously to help you guys, number one, but also starting tomorrow, well, by the time this video airs, it'll actually be a few days into it, but I'm starting my cut for the next 3 or 4 months after bulking for the last 3 or 4 months. Now, before we dive into the tips, I want to break down what a bulk is versus what a cut is. Now, when it comes to bulking, essentially, you're going to be eating at a higher level of calories above your maintenance calories. And I'm going to put a link in the description for a TDEE calculator, which is going to help you find your maintenance calories and let you know what maintenance calories are if you're unfamiliar. I just don't want to spend too much time diving into that aspect. So there's going to be a link in the description for you. Or you can also let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and I'll happily answer them for you. But yes, you essentially want to eat anywhere between 200 to 500 calories above your maintenance level every single day so you can put on weight and ideally put on more muscle. Now, when it comes to cutting, however, you're basically going to be doing the reverse. You're going to have your maintenance calories that you're going to be eating every single day, and you're going to go under that number by about 200 to 500 to lower that body fat percentage down and get more shredded, typically for the, spring, summer season, or whenever you want to. But yeah, now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to dive into tip number 1, which is make simple substitutions or slowly wean yourself off of certain foods. Now, depending on what kind of bulking phase you're in, because there is 2, and I have mentioned this in a video of mine previously, which I'll put a link on the screen for you to check out, but yes, there's either a dirty bulk or a clean bulk. Now, when it comes to a clean bulk, it may not be as difficult to make small substitutions and swaps, and I'll give you a quick example. So when I'm bulking, I will typically eat a lot of pasta because I grew up with an Italian mom and she was always cooking, and I love her to death and she's a great cook. So pasta was always around and I love it, and it's an easy way to really get those calories in nice and quick in one meal. But if I'm cutting, however, a nice easy substitution would be konjac root pasta. Now, you can find this under many different brands. I know New Pasta is one, at least for me in Canada here. Really delicious, comes in a package about yay big. 25 calories for the whole package, really, really low in calorie, and also really dense in fiber as well. So it's gonna keep you full longer, and you can have a bunch of it. You can basically have 2 packages of this stuff, which is probably 2 or 3 cups, give or take, and that's only 50 calories, which is a lot of food to have, and then just, add in your protein and whatnot in there, and you're good to go. Nice, easy swap. Another example for me would be peanut butter. I love my peanut butter. It's absolutely delicious. I'll always stick to it, and when I'm bulking, I'll just spoon it right out of the jar. It's delicious. But if I'm cutting, however, nice, easy swap for me is powdered peanut butter. One of the absolute most amazing things I've ever found, you guys. I've promoted this stuff many times in other videos of mine, through recipes and whatnot. Makes a huge difference. For me, peanut butter is always something that I view as a treat, and that's a great thing to keep in mind when you're cutting, because you want to have something that mentally is always going to make you feel like satiated, or that you're enjoying it, that it's not something you just have to eat. You never want to eat because you have to. You should always eat because you want to. Food is fuel, and food is amazing, and you should always crave it and always want it, and eat things that you enjoy, truthfully. Then on the flip side, there's what's called a dirty bulk, quote unquote, which is essentially eating everything in eyesight, not really tracking much, maybe your protein intake just to maximize your muscle growth. But other than that, you're just making sure that you're eating more calories than what your body needs to take in on a daily basis to maximize as much weight gain as possible. So that could be eating 3,000, 4,000, or even 5,000 calories a day. It doesn't matter, just as long as you know that you're eating more than whatever your maintenance calorie level is at. Now, this method definitely works for some. If you're someone who just finds it too tedious to track everything you're eating on a regular basis, which is totally understandable, or you're just comfortable being at whatever body fat percentage while you're trying to hit your muscle target goals, then by all means, do a dirty bulk. It'll definitely work for you. But the reason I'm making this video is because if you've never done that transition before and you're going from a dirty bulk, eating everything in sight, to being very strict and tedious with your calorie intake, it may be a bit difficult to go from smashing a half dozen donuts every day to not doing that at all. So that's the reason I say make small swaps. So going from, if it's literally a half dozen donuts, maybe have one donut. Maybe pick a lower calorie donut that you'll still enjoy. Something like that. Small swaps make a huge difference. You don't have to cut it off cold turkey. Still eat what you enjoy. Just slowly start lowering that calorie intake down. And if you're eating maybe 4,000 calories, bring it down slowly. Go down to like 3,500. Then next week, drop it down to 3,000. And so on and so forth until you get down to that level of where you need to be eating at in a calorie deficit, quote unquote. And I think you're going to find it a lot more easier to stay consistent with it that way. But yeah, now that we got that one out of the way, it's on to tip number 2, which is make black coffee and water your two besties. Now, before we dive into any details of this tip here, I want to give you guys a little backstory. Exactly 2 years ago, I wanted to see how lean I could get. I wanted to get the absolute best shape I've ever been in my entire life, see how low I could get my body fat percentage to, and see if I could get it low enough to step on stage and compete in a shredding competition eventually. I got myself down to about 7 to 8% body fat, in my opinion. I didn't get it tested or anything, but I'll put a picture on the screen for you right here so you can take a look for yourself. I actually had some water so you can kind of see I was probably even lower body fat percentage than my abs actually look at that point. But yeah, the reason for this backstory was there was 2 things that helped me through this entire process. Water and black coffee. Water to help me feel full and differentiate between those hunger cues and also keep me hydrated, of course. And black coffee to help suppress my hunger and keep me awake and, still wanting to continue on with this cut. But yeah, truthfully, caffeine is fantastic. If you're someone who doesn't have any issues with being able to take larger amounts of caffeine in, I was having 2 large black coffees throughout the day. I would probably stop around 4 or 5, so I wasn't wired and had a hard time going to bed at night. But it definitely helped me first get up in the morning and then kind of use it as a break throughout the day to keep me pushing those hunger cues to the side until I could have my next meal and keep those calories contained to that level that I was eating at during that time. Now, I know when I say black coffee, a lot of you are like, ew, gross, black coffee. Truthfully, start small if anything. Maybe add a little bit of 0-calorie sweetener in there, maybe a splash of lower calorie milk like an almond milk or a cashew milk, and then bring yourself down to that level where it's just nothing in it, just straight black coffee. Truthfully, especially depending on what kind of coffee you're drinking, either if it's flavored beans or just a certain kind of, coffee that you like flavor-wise, it's going to make a huge difference when you're not adding a bunch of stuff to it. You can actually taste the coffee bean itself, and for someone who loves coffee and the taste of coffee, I can't put anything in my coffee anymore. I drink it black whether I'm on a cut or I'm bulking. Doesn't matter. I always drink it black. So trust me, if I can do it, I don't have any magic powers. You can too. But yeah, that's 2 down. So I guess that brings us to our final tip, which is, drum roll, fuel up on protein and fiber. Now, there's a few reasons I'm telling you to eat more of both of these things. Number 1, protein is a very slow digesting macronutrient, and fiber actually doesn't even digest at all. It just sits in your stomach for long periods of time and makes you feel full. So obviously, when your stomach feels full, you're not going to want to eat, or you shouldn't eat anyways. And obviously, if you're not eating as much, then you're going to be taking in lower calories, you're going to stay in that calorie deficit, and you're going to ideally lose weight. Now, the second part of this ties into protein specifically. Not only does protein keep your body full longer, but it's also going to help you preserve all that muscle that you work so hard to put on during your bulk. And the easiest way to do this is to eat anywhere between 0.7 grams to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 180 pounds, eat 30 to 40 grams of protein 4 or 5 times a day. Boom, there you go. It's honestly a lot easier than you think. Now, if you're asking yourselves, Eric, why do I got to eat more protein? If I've already built the muscle, then I shouldn't have to eat more to build more, right? It's not going to go away. Well, not necessarily. See, what happens when your body's in a calorie deficit, so you're taking in less calories than what your body needs essentially every day to lose weight, it can easily target muscle over fat. Because you have an excess of it, even though you have an excess of fat too, you've put on more muscle when you were training and bulking, so it can easily take away at that if you're not fueling your body correctly by hitting your protein goals on a regular basis. But yeah, protein and fiber, great 1-2 punch combo. Make sure to keep that in your arsenal to help you make that transition from bulk to cut, especially if you've never done it before, that much smoother. But anyways, that is going to be a wrap for this video. Let me know in the comments below if there's any other questions you have, if there's something maybe I didn't cover here, if you want to add anything, if there's anything I can answer. Let's just get a conversation going. Toss it in the comments below. If it's something I can answer, I'd love to be able to help. But yeah, also let me know if you enjoyed it. But anyways, that is going to be a wrap for this video. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate it. Please just remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Toss this video a good old-fashioned thumbs up if you liked it. And be sure to hit that channel bell for notifications so that you never miss a new video of mine. And we'll see you in the next video.